What's up? Today I'm making a video on one particular resource that I know that a lot of people struggle with, including myself. So it's these, what they're called, skystones. You will mostly need them for powering up runes, powering up equipment that you have. So I'm gonna see if I can find one that requires it. I think it's just the higher level ones for the equipment. But for runes, I don't quite remember if the blue ones require it, but I know the purple and the legendary ones do, and they require quite a bit. So just to max a legendary rune from 0 to 15, that's 15,000 skystones, and if you have been gathering them so far and using them, you'll know that that number is quite hard to get. And today I'm gonna discuss every single method that you can every single method in game, how you can acquire those skystones, and the approximate amounts based on all of those calculations on how many you can get either per day, per week, per month, and stuff like that. Because some methods you can do every day, some methods you can do every week, and some even every month. And I'm gonna make sort of an average based on all of those. So for weekly methods, I will basically convert that amount to what you would get per day. So if you get like say 7,000 per week on a single method, so I would convert that to 1,000 per day. And the similar thing to the skystones that are acquired on a monthly basis. So I'll try to calculate it as there's 30 days in a month, just to keep it consistent. So basically divide the monthly skystone gains by 30 and calculate a daily amount from that. Just so I think the daily reference point will be a bit easier, since a lot of the methods are refreshed daily, so it'll just be easier to track. And yeah, so to begin with, I've written down notes of all of the methods here. So the first one is your guild request offices. Once you are in the guild, you get these little missions. They vary a lot and they have their difficulty attached. So C, B, basically C is the easiest one, B is a little harder, A is semi-hard sort of, and S is the hardest one. All of these are definitely doable, but some of them require, for example, higher level professions, which some might not have. Others require you to stuff like gather. I believe there was one where you have to gather gold from treasure chest, which could be annoying if you only play on order. Yeah, I think there's obtain equipment from chest, like that. Obtain gold from chest, like 4,000 gold. That could be a little hard for someone who only plays on order. And yeah, so in these requests, you can get several requests per day where you can get from around 500 to 1.5 thousand skystones per request. I know that I've done two today. One of them gave like 600 and the other one gave like 800 or something similar to that. So yeah, you can get a few hundred to maybe 1,000 or two at most. So for the sake of keeping track, I'll bring it to an average and calculate it as getting 1,000 per day. I think that's the easiest way to track it and give like the most approximate amount. The second method is actually in the request office as well, and it's the weekly milestone. You can get 1.5k skystones every week if you reach the 7th milestone. This will be super easy to hit, even if your guild is only semi-active. I know that in my guild there's usually like 10 people playing actively. Some of them are inactive, and we reach this milestone like in 4, maybe 5 days. So if you are an even more active guild, it will definitely be super easy to reach. If you cannot reach them, you may consider joining to a guild which can complete them till the max milestone. And yeah, but that's completely up to you. The amount here that you get is not that big, so don't stress over this one particularly. Mostly try to focus on the actual individual requests. And yeah, the third one is actually a daily challenge. So it is this one, yeah, winning 3 battles in arena or brawl arena. So this one, brawl arena is not released yet, but once it is, it will be even easier to gather it. And the challenge arena, you just do 3 battles. You might be able to do some other battles if you're in a lower ranking. For me, most opponents are already a bit challenging, so it's hard to find some of those other battles that win instantly. But yeah, you get 500 per day from the daily challenge. And speaking about challenges, hopping over to the weekly challenge, it's actually the same quest. So instead of 3, you have to win 15 battles, but this is in a week, so it's even easier to complete if you play every day. And you get 3000 skystones per week. So we'll take that into final calculation at the end. Now, for one of the biggest sources of these is expeditions. So ignoring this special expedition that you get 50 entries for, I recommend, if you haven't already, completing the story and unlocking the expedition content as soon as possible, since these expeditions give a pretty high amount of skystones per day. So these are basically just a different color dungeon from the regular what's it called, Path of Growth, Path of Adventure. So basically it's these monsters, but they are different elements. So for example, the Spider Queen is wind there, the Forgotten Earth Shrine is water, this guy is I don't quite remember, maybe fire? Let me check. Yeah, fire, and the light and dark ones are switch, I think. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, only some of these will be open every day and they rotate constantly. So one day one of them might be open, the other day the other one. There are days when 2 of them are open or all of them are open. So only do the ones that are marked with the today tab, since this gives 3 entries. You get 2 per day and you can refresh them 3 times. The first one costs 200 crystals, the second costs 300, and I'm not sure what the last one is, but I haven't refreshed it past that, since in my opinion I'm not at the point of the game where I have to rush these refreshes, as I'm still trying to acquire some runes. And yeah, basically from here, even if you can only do level 1, you get around 3000 per run. The different levels don't increase that much. As you can see, level 3 is 3.1k, and the difficulty compared to level 1 is super hard, since I believe the level 1 you can clear with any units, but level 2 and higher you have very specific requirements. So you need some kind of a unit or a color of the unit. I'm not sure if it shows here. Yeah, you can see level 1 you can actually clear with any team, so it's very similar to this one. But level 2 and higher you actually get a specific requirement. So for this one is Archer Monster and Fire Sport Monster. It can be quite hard if you haven't built any. So as you can see, I just made this hull to level 65 at 6 stars. I haven't awakened him, I haven't runed him up. I pretty much just slap whatever all equipped runes on him, do the 2 runs per day that I need to, since it's the same team for here. Do those 2 runs. The other 2 units with the summoner combined already carry it through, and just be done with it. And even doing level 1 is super useful, and you get from 2 runs a day you get close to 6000 skystones based on the level you do. And I actually recommend doing 1 refresh, the one that costs 200 crystals, to do additional 2 runs, which would total to around 12,000 per day. So this is one of the biggest gains, and actually around half of the total daily gains that you get from like the in-game content. And yeah, coming from expedition, there is party dungeons and rupture. So the Distorted Sky Island gives skystones as well after beating it. This one, the level you beat actually differs quite a bit, since level 1 is only 4k and it increases by 1.5k and another 1k for level 3. I haven't unlocked level 4 since it requires to support this one and it's a bit annoying. I might work on it in a few days, but level 3 is enough for now. And yeah, you basically get... Since I'm basing this guide on like the average player base, I'm gonna count it as getting level 2. Like as in you can do level 2 consistently, but I'll give you the ranges of both 1 to 3 separately, and like as in I'll calculate those ranges in the final amount, and basically you can enter this guy once per day. Then moving for Rupture, it is the Arena Pass. This Arena Pass resets once a month, and in this pass you can get 1000 skystones here, just counting the free to play tier, 2000 here, it is 3000 here and 5000 here. So in total you are getting, that is I believe 11,000 skystones. Yep. So it is a decent amount, but it is monthly, so when you calculate the daily gains it's not that much basically. And one of the last consistent places is the guild shop, and this is actually one of the better deals as well. So you should always get the weekly amount, so you can buy 10 per week and you get 2000 skystones for 500 of these guild coins. So 20,000 skystones per week essentially for 5,000 guild coins. And guild coins you get from just completing the request office. So each request will have a certain amount of coins. I think it's like, it depends on the difficulty of the task, but it ranges from like 100 to 300. And some of the quests actually have the main reward as coins, so you can get like additional 500 to 600 coins based on the request. So you should have a decently easy time getting those 5,000 weekly required coins. So this should be priority number 1 that you spend your guild weekly coins on. The rest is up to you. I personally buy the hard pieces since I know the win hard is pretty decent and I plan on skilling her up. Other items that are quite useful, I would not recommend going for the mystical or these colored scrolls, and instead going for the light and dark or the cobalt bomber piece. These are actually pretty useful as well. Focus legendary ones over the epic ones first, but both of them are pretty good, although you can buy a lot of these tools from the general shop with coins, so only spend these if you are like completely out of coins from doing professions. And yeah, so to summarize, these are the main ways to gain skystones. I'm only including the methods that are sort of refreshable. I'm not counting, since I know you can get a lot of skystones for both area exploration and Hill Kingdom study, but for the sake of this video I only want to focus on those that are not one-time deals and just calculate the exact amount of skystones that you can get per day, per week, per month, stuff like that. And yeah, there are a few other methods which I'm not including in the calculation, because this one will kind of depend on, yeah, so like it depends on individual gameplay, and it is most likely not included in the order gameplay, which I think the majority of us actually focus on. So one of the methods is actually the exchange end center, where you can buy, I believe they are in growth, yeah, you can buy 10,000 for, the price fluctuates around 40 to 50,000. But in my opinion these are quite expensive for the amount you get, and it will be quite hard getting a lot of those Rahil orders saved up, since even for some expensive items, so for example I know cobalt is very rare, for example, let me try to search for it. I know cobalt is like one of the rarest items to get in the game, and 20 of it only sell for 70k, so I mean you'll have to get like 2 2 to 3 stacks of these sold just to get 10,000 skystones, and 10,000 skystones is not even enough to fully power up one rune, so you'll do a lot of gathering for that, and I do not recommend it, but as a last option, it's always there. And you can also get some skystones from actually mining the crops in different regions. So let me see if I can find some here. Yeah, so these you get a lot of different crops around the regions, and mining crops, I haven't looked into which crops exactly. It might be all of them, it might not be all of them, but I know that crops usually, not crops, the mining, these little rocks that you can mine, you can rarely get around 20 to 50 skystones per mined one, but the rates are quite low. I think I get like those 20 to 50 skystones every like 10 to 20 crops mined, so it's definitely pretty rare, and it's definitely not a good source for them, but it's also there just as an option. And yeah, to summarize it all, well, let me just resume the audible. So basically, once you summarize all of those different methods, I've calculated that I'm also converting, as I said, all the weekly gains and monthly gains into a single daily calculation, and based on all of those, and I'm including the range from the, not the expedition, the rupture. So basically the lower range will be for people who can only do level 1 of this dungeon, to a higher range for people who can do level 4 of this dungeon. So based on all of those, if you are only able to do level 1, you will get around 22,300 skystones per day. And if you are able to do the level 4, so it basically just increases by the amount that this dungeon gives. So it raises to around 7.5k, and you can get close to 25,000 skystones per day. So yeah, that's enough to max around one rune to max for legendary ones, for example, 0 to 15, and another rune to like level 12. So around 1.5 runes per day you can max with that amount of skystones. So do what you want with this information. I'm not saying that it's a good shout, but if you want to get a lot of heal orders, mostly when your team runes and your equipment is close to max out, you can actually sort of invest into these, and when you're getting 22,000 on the lower end, 22,000 skystones per day, you can actually earn around 100,000 heal stones. So these could be useful for buying different items. Perhaps you want to buy some equipment of some sort if you are not able to do the foggy prison dungeons and stuff like that. If you need some materials for the crafting profession, those are always available. And yeah, hopefully this shines some light on all of the methods that you can get skystones with, and see you in the next one.